I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job.
You have to make it. What up,
Kickback! JB, what's the name of the podcast?
Nigga, it's a pod named Kickback. A pod named Kickback. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You say the whole thing.
Welcome back to a pod named Kickback. It is indeed, in fact, like a Tribe Called Quest. You do have to say the whole thing. Don't be calling us Kickback. Don't be calling us a pod, and don't be calling us named. It is a pod named Kickback. And I am no breaks new, the righteous ratchet. If you throw it, I catch it. If you got it, I match it. Each and every week, we right back at it. I am the Black Savage, the Magneto of my people. And I got something to tell you about my people. But before I get into my people, let's introduce this week's what do you call it? This edition of the podcast Avengers. I think that's how we say it. And we're gonna start it off with Britt Brat. What up, Britt?
Hey.
I gotta get you another line up on part 2. I'm Britt Brat, and I like to skip facts, and I do a little bit of this and that, and then yo, bullshit rap. So we gotta do something.
I like just saying, hey, what's wrong? Hey, what's up? It's me.
It was tourist season too.
It is absolutely tourist season.
So we celebrated our beautiful Aries as we must do every year. But we're into tourist season. But I'm gonna throw it to you on that later because I got to recap my week. But before we go into all that, Mr. Man Up himself, Randy T, was goody.
Hey, what's good? It's the Randy T, Man Up Monday, all day, every day. You know how we do.
And hey, my
Brett, man, Brett, like she been having fun today, Brett. Like
it's
right?
Yeah, that brunch, yeah, that mimosa brunch.
Yeah,
right? All the mimosas.
It was bottomless. It was bottomless.
Right?
It was bottomless.
J. Lou, talk to us, man.
Hey, straight to the point, man. Good to see y'all, man.
It is J. Lou, what it do? Oh, let me examine our names underneath our names. So, of course, under mine, I just put my government. Last week, I had Hemi. I had Nooperfly. Instead of Superfly, it was Nooperfly. Hemi Snooker, because I'm him. And then, so this week, I just got my name now, Tarino Mine. I'm on my grown man shit. I see Britt Brat got the corporate black girl, which has always been her title, her tag.
Yeah.
J. Luke puts in the business. He got the JWL agency. And then Randy T, of course, got Man Up Monday. All right, I like it. This week, we aren't sponsored by anybody. We sponsored by the universe. So we're going to go right into our high-low. God damn it.
Now, high-low. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. High low of the week. First off, I ain't got no low. How about that? What my round of applause there, goddamn.
Hey. Love that.
I want some horns.
Not the bomb.
He's just hitting every button.
Club Shay Shay drop it.
What does that one do?
Hey, don't hit
the bomb.
Just run him down like a piano.
Right. I'm looking for my Club Shay Shay joke.
Somehow that is correct.
I don't know what that means, but
I believe in conspicuous consumption.
Really?
If you have it, flaunt it.
Really?
So I was in the LJ, mountains of LJ this weekend, capping off my birthday month. If you know anything about me, or you listen to the podcast for the last 12 years, my birthday is usually a pretty big deal. COVID hit, my birthdays were pretty much not a big deal. My birthday was uncelebrated the last fucking 4 or 5 years, damn near. But I had I'll do a quick recap. Went down to the First Fridays in the underground. That was a great experience. I love my art. I used to go to a museum. That's my tradition, but that was like my street museum. Got to see local artists and play games and jazz pianists and saxophonists and all that shit. Great time. Dolo's Pizza, check it out. It's right down in the underground, pretty good. Then I went to the Red Phone booth, which is an exclusive members only cigar lounge. So we in there, you know, just to the nine, smoking our cigars, drinking our whiskey, just enjoying a good time. And then what else was it? My actual birthday, I didn't do too much, but just worked, got a couple sales, put some money in, you know what I'm saying? And then I went to the mountains of LJ this past weekend, and you know, from the pictures, the jacuzzi, the game room, the deer and doe running and frolicking to and fro and shit. And just a good, it was frolicking. It was frolicking. I started to do my black boy love shit and hold my cell phone up and frolic myself. Like, I'm frolicking. Black boy joy. I'm frolicking. I started to do that shit because I was so fucking happy. But I didn't want to be judged because y'all be judging people like me and Amanda Seales. We'll get into that later. But I just didn't want to go through the judgment. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this is the best birthday month I've had maybe ever. Like, real talk, I had a really good time. And it wasn't like I did anything too, like, oh, like you went to Nevada, well, not Nevada, you went to Barbados, you went to Abu Dhabi. No, I didn't really do that. I just had some very deliberate, intentional fun with motherfuckers I care about. And that was, you know, when you turn 70, that's all you really want. You know what I'm saying? So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'm willing to pass the birthday season over to my Taurus queen. Let's give it up for Britt Brad. Britt Brad, talk to us. What's your high and low?
So if I had to have a low, it would probably be dealing with my contractors. I got new floors put in finally. But I had to do a lot in order to pressure the installers to like get here and get everything that they needed. I was on the phone really fussing in a very, very professional way since Monday. But
can we get an example of that? How do you professionally fuss?
Like, I was very stern, but like respectful.
I'm the contractor. Miss Britt Brad, we're not going to be there Thursday.
It's really hard for me to do it when I'm not like actually upset. So I don't know how to fake being stern, but I just really had to let them know like I meant business. I'm not the type of person that gets on the phone and starts cursing at people and things of that nature, because I do work in client service. So I also understand that I still have to get something out of these people. So I don't want to upset them, but I did let them know that as a paying customer, I was very much inconvenienced, and they kept telling me, you know, we've made notes for the next customer. And I said, well, that does nothing for me, but I'm happy for your future customers. That was just one of the lines. And they ended up calling back. They somehow found a contractor that was able to come in. They actually ended up not being able to do the floors because the original installer, he, you know, went to pick up the materials, and next thing you know, I get a call back saying, oh, the contractor is not able to do the install today because he didn't have all of the materials. So I call back and I'm like, what's going on? Well, he ended up leaving the materials in the floor because he was missing like a piece of quarter round, a piece. And rather than asking, you know, where is the missing piece, which was not actually missing, it was just separated, he just left. And so I had to explain that because, of course, that's not what he told, you know, his manager and boss and things of that nature. So lots of back and forth. But I think that there's always some type of blessing, because if he was willing to do that, probably not someone that I would want to do work in my home. So I ended up getting someone who was very professional, reached out to me directly. We corresponded. And so then with the high, I ended up actually getting my floors installed.
Good. Dang and Hornet. All right, Randy T, what's going on in your world, man?
Hey man, NBA NFL draft just went down. Right. That's so my high is I'm celebrating our draft picks, the Washington Commanders. We got our man. We went out there, Jaden Daniels, broke every FBS record in college football. Yeah, he throwing from DC from now on. He found a home. I'm telling you, call it in now, put it in the notes. We winning the division. Philly going down, Dallas going down. Like division is won. That's the high.
You act like y'all did something.
You sound like Jets fans when they thought they were about to take over.
No, I'm not saying we winning the Super Bowl, right? I ain't saying we doing that, but I'm saying we winning the division in 10 games this year with the quarterback that we drafted on Thursday.
This is you sound like a cowboy.
Hey man, can I have my high? Is this my high?
Low
All right, let me. Then my low. Here go my low. All right, and my low is again, and I'm gonna keep pushing it. Like again, it's a lot going on in Haiti, and it's still nothing in the news. Right? We got news going on everywhere. We talking about what's going on in Palestine, Israel. And we know Ukraine, they all getting $1 billion, $1 million, and all in the budgets, while Haiti's still the left on their own, right? So look, a lot of people, election time is coming in your division. When you sitting with your community leaders, ask them what's in the bill for Haiti, right? Because that's our people, right? And if we're gonna be sending all these packages internationally, let's send them internationally for people who look like the largest consumers in the United States, right? Let's help some of our skin folk, right?
There it is. J. Lou, take us home, man. Hello.
Hey man, slow week, man. Slow week. I got to work out, got to work in. So everything was good, man. Nothing too crazy. But Randy, what's going on in Haiti? Real quick. I can see my time, Randy, to let me know what's going on.
Yeah, well, it was a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month ago. It was a big prison break with pretty much, let's say that after the prison break, criminals took over the country, right? Ran off the prime minister. He stepped down this week. He was in hiding. Like literally, the criminals are running the country, like the airports, everything, and no federal aid. And they in the UN, right? They in the UN. Ukraine is not. It's like they getting $1 billion packages. Like Haiti's in the UN. They ain't part of the United Nations, right? But like, look at that. So we talking about the aid, the help that come like a United Nations country. Like we should have boots on the ground anywhere that it's a United Nation country. We understand with Ukraine because they not that is because of relations and nations and stuff that we can't do. But they part of the nation, right? So why is it that we not doing more there? And I hear all these other stories and we got people in court and all that other stuff, but I get a crawl of Haiti, right? Everything else a top story.
Well, we know why. Skin color, we know why.
We know why. Like Haiti was the first country
to fight against the British to win the war. So we know they have a disdain for Haiti.
That's on our leaders too, though. Because if we're being honest, like our leaders that look like us, they're not talking about it either. So like
Nope.
Absolutely. That's why I said it's election time's coming. This is a time when you people who getting paid to be that their job is your elected official. They represent you in Congress. They supposed to be your voice, right? So when the time come around for their contracts to get renewed, put it in their face. That's the only way.
There you go.
Yeah, man. I don't want to say thoughts and prayers, but we were definitely going to say, Randy, you are the official Haiti correspondent, so you're going to keep us hip to what's going on. Because I'm curious to see how long it goes with this, I don't want to call it anarchy, but Jav, like this anarchist. Yeah, like I'm curious to see how quiet we get, how quiet the U.S. remains during this whole process. that's going to be very interesting to see. Now, getting into our viral story of the week. I guess where my little drop at?
My left stroke just went viral.
Hey, J. Lou's former algebra buddy, Amanda Seales.
Hey man,
she used to help him with his algebra, and he used to help her. He used to buy her lunch. That's the story. Don't ask me. I wasn't there. I just heard the rumors.
It's a fact,
She went on Club Shay Shay, and she did an interview. Well, I think it was initially prompted because she made mention of not being invited into Black spaces, regardless of what she does, what she says, even her legacy. Real talk. I remember Amanda Diva on MTV. So I go back way further than just Amanda Seales from Insecure and her stand-up comedy and different ventures. And she made up, I don't get invited. I've been nominated, but I don't get invited. Like, what's going on in these Black spaces? And then there were like 3 or 4 think pieces that came out, criticizing her, critiquing her for her having tone deafness, for her not reading the room properly, and for her being just in general, I guess, difficult to work with. I've always fucked with Amanda. There was a Myron Rose situation where it was an accusation against a Black man for sexual abuse, assault, and she just ran with it with no facts. Kind of like the Jussie Smollett. I'm more of the, let me get all the facts first on all sides of the argument, because I'm a fact-based nigga. So I don't go off emotion most times. So I can't just throw an emotion out. You present me a scenario and there's no facts, I'm not gonna feel nothing. You present me a scenario with facts, then my brain will tell my heart what to feel. You know what I'm saying? So like with Jussie Smollett, he put the noose around his neck. He was at Subway. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it just doesn't make sense to me. So I can't have an emotional response. And so in a lot of ways, I kind of, in watching her interview, because she tried to get in front of a few things. She had a few comments about this shouldn't have been said that way, or people this, that, and I was like, here she go again on her shit. But I'm trying to be fair, because I know what it's like to be misunderstood. And one of the things she said in the interview was being misunderstood and not protected. And real talk, it might sound ironic to hear it, but I felt that way as a Black man. I feel misunderstood and not protected, because I'm a nigga from a nigga area, and I wasn't protected in corporate spaces. I wasn't protected in different areas because of my background kind of preceded me. So I always felt like if I protect myself, it's gonna be you bitch ass nigga, what the fuck you talking to? And then I'm still the bad guy. So I'm like, corporate buddy, use the corporate words to protect me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do it myself. Use your corporate shit and tell them, to back up or to lay off. And those things never happen. And then I'm always forced to react myself. And then that makes me the bad guy. Because it's like, it's almost not about the crime committed. It's about the reaction to it. So I used to get caught up in the reaction politics. It doesn't matter. Yeah, what they did was wrong, I knew, but it's how you responded. That's the real crime. And I'm like, God damn, you ain't had this energy when they did this to me. So I'm watching her and I'm like absorbing it, and I'm seeing a reflection of myself in her. But what I noticed is I didn't see the healed part. I didn't see the healing, because you can't do that to me now. Now I'm 48. I'm in we're probably similar in age, but I'm in a different space where I don't need anyone to acknowledge, justify, or recognize an action done to me when I was 7. I don't need validation on how I responded when I was 7. I don't even need your opinion on this shit for real. And that was almost the only negative from the interview. I thought it was well done. I thought she expressed a lot. I thought she explained a lot. I felt so conflicted because there was literally no accountability. I was taught at a very early age that you can't change other people, you can only change yourself. So in every situation, I look for my accountability, because I can't change J. Lou if he do something to me. I can't correct Brittany's behavior necessarily if she ain't listening. I can't tell Randy to do differently. These are all grown people. The only one I can change out of this group of 4 is me. And it's either I won't deal with what you presented to me. It's either if you do this to me, I'm going to have this type of reaction. Or if you do this to me, I'm going to ignore it. Or I'm just going to remove myself from the situation. But there's no definitive. I used to try to bully people. Like I was trying to bully niggas into being real niggas. Like, nah, we don't do that. We don't talk behind each other back. I'll beat your motherfucking ass. It's like, damn, like I ain't really ready to fight you to try to make you the man I think you should be when I see this point and I hang with you. That might be the better deal. Like, if we don't have the same politics, same view, I shouldn't be bullying you into what I consider being a real nigga. I should maybe just not deal with you. And the biggest takeaway I got from that was she hasn't learned to, I got it. I know where I'm loved at. I know where I'm good at. I'm not even dealing with it. But I had to recant. I watched it twice. And the first time I watched it, I came away with one thing. And the second time after commentary, I came away with something else. And so now I just want to do a free fall because it's a lot in that interview. It's a lot to unpack. I tried to give you guys like my range of all the shit that I thought, but I don't even really want this discussion to be about my opinion on it. Excuse me. I just want to know what y'all thought. Because you may have a total different perspective, a total different area of the interview you want to attack. I said mine. And I unless you want to comment on what I said, I'm going to throw it to you, Britt, and just what did you get out of it? Because I think it's so nuanced that you can have something totally different than what I got.
Yeah. So I really like Amanda Seales. I think that people are dead set on misunderstanding her. I think it's one of those situations where it's, oh, look, Amanda's coming, and they're trying to figure out how to pick apart what she may say or whatever. They're just waiting. I also feel like, and one of my friends said it best, she said, Amanda, that interview was a great example of why everybody doesn't belong in the same classroom. A lot of what that is a very intelligent person. I believe she has a lot of emotional intelligence. You know, how can you tell someone who has been misunderstood, especially by their own people? And I'm talking about even from my own perspective, a lot of, Black people and Black women, I was that person. Well, you want to talk white. You want to be white. Like, people wanted to misunderstand me. They couldn't see past how I speak. Right. And so when you are in that situation, you can say, well, it's hard. It didn't seem like it was coming from a healed place from different areas, but it's really hard to heal from something that has never stopped. It is continuing. And she is kind of, it's one of those things where she's trying to remain strong on the outside, but it hurts her. Like, she is literally saying, for my people to constantly misunderstand me and want to misunderstand me. You're not even trying to understand me. It hurts. So of course she's going to defend herself. There are certain things that, Shannon said that he may have been trying to probe or get something out of her. And she's like, I'm not going to give that to you. Like, what are you saying? So, but shout out, to Shannon for, creating that platform to allow people to kind of speak for themselves and where millions of people will be able to see it. But that's just kind of my perspective, just as a whole, not necessarily picking apart different pieces, but that's what I got from the whole interview.
I think that I appreciate your perspective, and I hold a lot of what you said. That's kind of how I felt before you logged on. We were always sitting here saying, like, are we in love with Amanda Seales? Like did she just win us all over? Like, what the fuck just happened? And because it's literally on my TV right now, and I watched it once, and I had a homegirl like, but did you watch the whole thing? And then I got offended. Like, do you think I didn't? Like, what the fuck you mean that I'm gonna do a whole? Here's a better question: do you think I would have watched it twice before the episode airs? Fuck you talking to? I do this shit podcast. I'm the Pod Father, nigga. I'm gonna watch it 2-3 times. And as I'm watching it the second time with a chip on my shoulder, I saw myself. but I not even to be used as a criticism, because I don't want to criticize her in this space, and then I'm trying to stick up for her in this particular space. But I did see that is new up until 2018. She looks like 2017 new. I know what 2024 new looked like. And I know that there's a way to work the room. Like she talked about not having social cues, being autistic. I know a lot of, not a lot, but I know people who don't know social cues. They don't pick up on it. I've never been that kind of person. I can read the room. I know how to make everybody laugh in the room. I know what kind of joke to tell to get the tension off. I know when it's time to turn it up and be crazy new and say some wild, oh, did he really say that? I can typically read the room. And I think with her is there's still room for her to grow. I don't think she's the villain in this shit, but there's an opportunity for her to grow where she does read the room. Because the interview she just did, the little meme she did about her interview on Shay Shay, like, and then they did this, and they say there was a safe space to come on Club Shay Shay, but he really did it. And it's like, sis, there's a way you could take a little more responsibility where you won't be out here now looking like this after the interview. Because I don't think her interview was that bad. I don't think she needed to defend it with the veracity that she did. She defended that interview like she said all the wrong things and everybody played her and manipulated her. I thought you did a good job. You spoke very eloquently. I understood what you were saying. I think most people did. And I don't know how many people just want to root against her. I push back on that because, like,
oh, there are a lot.
She was Amanda Diva, the rap MTV VJ. She was like Free and AJ. She was a goddess. So I don't know that, but maybe some younger people would. She was the shit when I grew up. So anybody looking, nobody in my generation looking for no fucking reason to hate on Amanda. I know she's Amanda Seales now, but she is Amanda Diva. And that meant something. That meant something. That wasn't no bullshit title. She was Amanda Diva. The queen of hip hop, so all that people just want to root against her. I call bullshit. Now it might be these new millennials.
It's definitely happening. What are you calling bullshit on?
Do you think it's disproportionate, or do you think it's just what comes with the game? You get haters and lovers. You get both. I mean, or you think it's disproportionately just Amanda Seales is getting all this hate?
So she's getting a lot more hate than she is of people trying to understand her. And I think from what I'm saying is I don't always just look at, even though it is happening, I don't always just look at kind of what the kids are saying, that grew up watching her. I'm kind of sort of looking at what some of the people that she may have actually dealt with, or some of the people that she may have been alluding to or speaking about, having those comments. So that's what I mean. Like when I say that people they want to misunderstand her, if that makes sense. They don't want to give her the space to be like, you know what? Not having social cues is a thing, right? We can sit here and say, well, this person or that person doesn't read the room, which is funny. We say that, but everybody doesn't have the ability to do that. And I feel like we need to stop putting so much pressure on people to say things the right way all the time, because nobody does that. You know what I'm saying? She is literally telling us, I'm just a person who all I know how to say is exactly what I'm thinking. My mind doesn't process that way. And so I'm just saying it how I mean it. And it's up to another person to choose to say, to take offense to it and to tell her what she means by it, or to just simply say, okay, let me get a better understanding of what do you mean by that? And I think that is kind of that line of like, we tell people they've got to be able to, say things this way and that way. And I get it. I'm one of those people who have perfected that, but that's because, a lot of how I speak to people and what I do, it has a lot to do with how much money I make. So that, is something that I have had to work on over time, because as a kid growing up, I wasn't a bad kid or a disrespectful kid. But one thing my mom always said was, we were just worried about what was going to come out of your mouth. And you meant no harm. You just said exactly how you thought it in your mind. And I think that is just what she does. And it's like there are so many people out here like that. So why is it that, we hear Amanda and it's like, oh, Amanda doesn't read the room? Because that's one of those things, right? And I think from her telling us that she's on the spectrum and that she doesn't have social cues is because she's really trying to say, y'all, I really want y'all to understand me.
I feel that, Britt, and I want to give that just one moment because that's real. That ain't bullshit. That ain't I don't think she's trying to get over with that. I know people like that.
Yeah.
I love people who can't read a room. I love people who are on the spectrum. So that's not fluff. I don't think it's bullshit. I don't think it's just she's saying that to try to get past. No, I think that's real.
Yeah.
I also think
then they did that clip too, trying to basically say, oh, well, she wasn't clinically diagnosed with autism by a doctor. Like
she
then
took the goddamn test. I'm riding with the test. But I get if you're a detractor, you don't like her. I get this is now something I can use.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed technically. You know what I'm saying? So I do get your point on that. My only thing with that is, and I'm being perfectly honest, as a dude, as an aggressive nigga, a dude with a deep, raspy voice, we could be laughing and joking about a topic. And I'll be like, I don't care if old man still said. And y'all three might not y'all do it, but y'all could be like, damn, no. Chill out. It's the podcast. I'm like, dog, it's my voice. I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
That's just how I sound. And y'all like, calm down. And then I'm like, I am calm. And then I'm mad because I keep telling me calm down. And everybody like, what's wrong with this guy? So I've been where Amanda has been. So I have a level of empathy with her that I don't know that everybody has because I've been there. Yeah. Where it's just like, I'm just, dog, my voice deep. I'm not mad at nobody. Like, what the, like, stop telling me I'm mad. I'm trying to talk like y'all talking. So I relate to that. But I do think, I'm gonna use a quick analogy, then I'm gonna get the fellas in on this. Fantasia, somebody was like, Fantasia's 21 and she couldn't read. And I was like, that's fucked up. I know what going up in the inner city is. I understand getting to America, I don't ain't got nothing to do with you being able to read. So I'm not judging on that. But when you're 21 and you still can't read, that's your problem now. I don't give a fuck if your mother was a crackhead. I don't give a fuck if your father wasn't there. If you're 21 and you cannot read a fucking sentence, it is now your fault. My thinking with Amanda Diva is how I judge myself. If I was still always misunderstood by every single fucking body, then that, at some point it's my fault because I can't change everybody's level of comprehension. I coined the term myself that communication is the burden, the understanding is the burden of the communicator. I created that because it was my life. People were always misunderstanding me and it drove me bad shit because I'm like, I'm not speaking a foreign fucking language. So why the fuck everybody act like they don't know what I'm saying? Like it was like a couple weeks ago we were talking and I was like, Kendrick my favorite artist, but I think J. Cole, but I think his album was didn't have replay value or something. And every time I said it, it was like nobody understood what I was saying. And I'm sitting here like, I'm not speaking fucking Spanish. I know y'all get,
I ended up asking you. I said, I ended up asking, what do you mean when you say replay value? And then you explained yourself. And it was like, okay, that is your opinion, but I think for you, there was a part of it that was like, we weren't agreeing with you. And it was more of, y'all must not understand me.
But I think the part was,
now we hear you.
No, yeah, I was agreeing because the whole point was like, how often you play my auntie is a man now? You're not playing it. And that was the example I used. You're not fucking playing it. So you agree with what I'm saying. Like, you're not playing it. So it was like, let's not use semantics and be funny. You don't play that song. It ain't coming on when you and the girls going to the club. Let's not pretend like it is. It's not. And that's my point. It's a great song, but we not playing that shit over and over again. Which anyway, neither here nor there. But I think that there is a healing that needs to be done with Amanda because the way she's acted after an interview, I think you can clearly tell the healing hasn't taken place. And I'm on Amanda's side. I want to be on her side, but I got to hold her accountable. And before I get into any of that other shit, ready to jump in this motherfucker, I know we done went around Robin Hood's barn but kind of like just give us your view. And I think that's what I'm interested in is everybody's view on whatever part you want to talk about. I don't want you to have to respond to what Grit said or what I said. I want to know your thoughts because I really think all four of us came away with something different.
Yeah. No doubt. I believe that all. But one thing that I'll say that I can tell from me being a person who's been in and still is in therapy, that when somebody's who's been in therapy, you can hear therapeutic statements from their responses, right? So I can tell from a lot of her comments before she even said about her having a therapist that she was in therapy, right? Just by the way that she responded. And because I saw the aftermath before I listened to the interview, I went in with a different filter. And I went in thinking that she looking at how she felt about it, right? And I would made her make the comment she made when she came off of it. And I thought it was at the beginning, the first part of the interview, when she talked about her challenging the teacher who was giving misinformation when she was the only Black student in a white class, and it was a white teacher who was giving misinformation on about Aborigines or people of color. And in that statement when she challenged her, and this is where I will say with Shannon, especially with the numbers that he's getting now, brother, you have a greater responsibility to fact check everything that you say on air before you say it. And because he misspoke at least 3 times of just wrong information, which at the level that you are at now, in my opinion, there is no excuse for that. Like, you should have people that work under you delegate that, man. Have these cards in my hand. Like, if I'm saying some information that ain't up to date, like somebody, like we having a meeting after this show of why I'm on air giving misinformation. And with someone who's in therapy, you know that they go to therapy because they've experienced trauma, right? So I can tell that she's experienced trauma. And then the way that Shannon responded to that comment in that moment, it triggered her trauma. And you can see she shut down. Like when she put her hand on her head, like she checked out. Because right then, that was the moment she felt attacked. Because she asked him, she's like, why are you defending this person who's not even here, who was dead wrong? And you had me here to speak my truth. But in this moment, you're defending someone who was wrong.
Right.
So for someone who's been through the trauma of not being protected by people who call me into spaces that tell me that it's safe, and then I get here and it's the exact opposite, right? Exact opposite. When we go back to when she talked about the Black Emmy story, right? So think about all of that, and think about right there at that moment when Shannon said what he said, then I understood her reaction and why
let me jump in here, Randy.
the whole trajectory.
I want to challenge you on something to get your thoughts on it. When Cat Williams said that Mike Epps was supposed to be he said I was supposed to be the Santa Claus and he was supposed to be my character, and then Shannon was like, well, I don't think Mike Epps would do that. And Cat Williams was just like, well, that's what you think. And then Cat Williams eventually said, well, you having, where my quote at? You having an unnatural allegiance to
You having an unnatural allegiance to losers is not like you.
Shannon challenged everybody. You know who shut down with it? You know who put their hand on their face with it? You know who made it a bigger deal than everybody else did? It was only one person that did that. Shannon challenged. I can show you an interview from everybody where they have had to defend, like, nah, that motherfucker really did call me a bitch and I smacked him. Did he really call you a bitch? What did I say he called me? And Shannon did that with everybody.
I didn't say Shannon. I didn't say he wrong. I didn't say he wrong for that.
No, he kind of was leading towards.
I didn't say he was wrong. I just said that was the trigger point for her.
And his cards and all that. All I want to point out is Shannon does that to everybody, but one person had a really adverse reaction to it, and then they became a victim because of it. And this is tricky because I am more on Amanda Seale's side than I am not. I'm not choosing between her and Shannon. To me, the beef ain't her and Shannon. The issue is she communicating with, what would help everybody understand her, or is he doing more things to make herself more confusing? That is the world I'm in. I'm looking at those two angles. Did she really get it across, or did she make it more muddy? So I'm on Amanda's side. She ain't my enemy. I see myself in her. But I do understand that when I wasn't communicating effectively, nobody knew what the fuck I was saying.
Yeah.
And it ain't for the 4 people that can understand me to stand up and go, well, actually what New meant. No, New needs to say it so everybody fucking understand it. Not so 4 of you get it, and then and now I'm the victim because only 4 of you got it. New needs to say the shit better so everybody get it. And that's my challenge with her, because Shannon does that with everybody. She the only one that was like,
you're
it wasn't
that's not
anymore. Now we're in a safe space.
Because a lot of people cannot intellectually understand or are equipped. Is that what you're saying?
Repeat that for me, Britt.
Are you saying that she needs to water or dumb herself down because there are more people than not, that there are less people than there are that are equipped to understand her? I don't know.
I'm not saying that because
what is she supposed to do better?
Well, it's what I had to learn how to do is and I gave you the quote, the burden of understanding is on the communicator. Like, if I have something, so like this is how I communicate. Just real quick, I'll say it, and if you don't get it, I'll go, I must not have said it clearly. Let me try to say it again, or ask a question as to, what did you hear me say? Okay, well, no, that's not what I meant. What I was saying was this. And then if you still don't get it, I'm gonna be like, well, I was not saying that. We clear here? And then if you still don't get it, then I might get an attitude like, dog, what the fuck? I done said it 3 times. But I do think that there's this arrogance in I said it, however I said it, and people should just get it. Fuck you. Everybody don't think the way you think. Everybody ain't gonna get it because you said it the way you understand it, motherfucker. We all grew up in different worlds, different languages of understanding. Never take anything personal because you don't know how anybody else was raised. So it's not about that. You have to speak to people in a language. Well, if you want me to understand, you better say it in the way I get it, and don't intellectualize it to the point where I don't get. Like you got to dumb it down so I can get it, motherfucker. Obviously, you need to dumb down your thinking so that everybody else can get it. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all.
I'm not even gonna comment on that.
Let me finish.
Go ahead, Randy.
Huh? I just wanted to finish. Let me finish my point, right? Because what you said was that Shannon does that to everybody, and what I never said that Shannon did anything wrong. What I said was that was the moment where she was triggered, and because going back to, I'm talking about her being in her trauma and her being in therapy, and she made the statement, and what the statement that he made, and if anybody who's been, and you don't have to be through therapy, just understand of validating comments, right? And if someone, and I'm thinking for her, what I saw about her, when she told me, when she said when she first got to New York, she felt home. That explained a lot to me right there. But let me keep going. But to my point was that when she said that, when Shannon said what he said, she felt invalidated. So, and it was an invalidating comment, because at that point when he said that I just know that women, when kids speak in those environments, like why in that moment Shannon felt that he needed to defend that woman right there who had nothing to do with the story, to make a point about kids don't talk back to parents. That's the way that I was raised. Now, I understand that that's how he felt. But if you tell her that this is a safe space and she's telling you about a traumatic event that happened to her, when you say something that's exactly to the opposite of what she's telling her experience was, you have just invalidated how she felt. And that's how she felt, and that's what it reacted. Why you saying Shannon did that to everybody else? No, it ain't. It's not everybody else, because everybody else receives in a different way, and she's reacting according to her experiences, her life experiences, and things that happened in her life, and the statements that were going on in that moment. So it can't be compared to what he does to everybody else.
Well, that's the issue. The issue is that she isn't healed to the point where she can receive that.
We don't know. I don't know. It ain't about her. It ain't about her being healed. Even if she is healed, she can be healed. And in that moment, you just still took her back to a place that she was healed from.
And she not totally healed because she went back.
I don't
know. I don't know if she healed.
Can't be triggered. So
Right.
and I think that's a totally different conversation. But when you have a traumatic experience, that's the difference between going through trauma and having triggers. Everybody has a trigger. There's always going to be something that reminds you. Now we can get into how you process that and move forward in understanding it's a trigger, but let's not, I don't want to say that you're not healed because something triggers you.
I agree with that. And we're gonna check that up and put that in bold print. But my point is, she was triggered in that situation. She got triggered. She shut down. There has to be onus of that. She has to own that. She has to own it. Like
she brought it back.
We gonna rock with the sister because this ain't the Amanda Seale's Bash episode. Before we started this, we always like, are we in love with this bitch now? Like I think I love her. So we're not. This isn't what this episode is. But it is. Am I lying? Did we not? Is that not what we said before Brittany got here?
I said I'm either in love with her or she my spirit animal. One of the two.
That's what I'm saying. So we're not even gonna act like these is the black men against Amanda Seales. Fuck on my face with that. What we're saying is.
Yeah, she did the whole first line to hit him up. That's what I said from the beginning.
What I said from the beginning, and what I'm saying now is, I recognize where she isn't healed. I recognize where
you can't say that though.
No, I can say whatever I want. I've gone through therapy, and what I noticed is, in that situation, she couldn't handle it, which is why she's acting an ass now after the interview. She can't handle it.
She handled it very well.
You think she handled it very well to be in the interview and then sit her face like this and shut down? You think that's handling it well?
She analyzed, she processed, and then she moved on.
All right, man. All right. J. Lou, jump in here with whatever you want, because this is.
She interviewed another 2.5 hours.
We done, Randy. J. Lou, jump in, man.
That was probably one of the most engaging and I thoroughly enjoyed that entire interview. And I felt like those two needed to have it. Like you have to have, I think you have to have an interview with people from different backgrounds, different perspectives. Obviously, Shannon kind of plays the devil's advocate, and I think some of those things kind of triggered her. I don't think he meant to. But you can't help but what you mean to do, or what you don't mean to do. It's like to your point. Yes, he probably does it to everybody else, but everybody receives it differently. But like I felt like she is Amanda is ridiculously intelligent, ridiculously articulate, educated, well versed, and I think she speaks well. I thoroughly enjoyed that interview more than I did the Cat Williams interview. A lot of other interviews that was just kind of like gossipy type stuff. The first 20 minutes, that thing was it was tense. Like I think I paused it. It got a little so iffy sometimes. I guess my issue with the interview was I felt like both of those two individuals worked their way through it. Even like towards the end when she was like, you know what, let me get a hug. And when she first started it, she wasn't there, but they eventually worked their way to it. And I just thought it was beautiful to see how you can kind of come from different perspectives. A 50, 60-year-old black man from the South with a eclectic, young woman from California who loves New York, who has, a ridiculous amount of degrees, how you can kind of find common ground in that space. And what I don't like is the after effects. And I think what Amanda did, the only thing that I didn't like that she did is I felt like she let the social media amp it up to a different, at the end of the interview, they was talking about hey, you come on my podcast after this, let's, communicate, keep in touch. And it's now it seems like it's getting vitriol, hey, you're not intelligent, he's not intelligent. I'm like, look, man, everybody comes from a different background. If you're gonna say that, you got to say that about the million cousins that you have that's not that level. So I just felt like the interview went great. I think when social media hit it, they kind of changed a little bit and put a negative damper on it. When I felt like it went great throughout. I love the tense moments. It's necessary. We got to have tense conversations to grow. If you don't, you know, what are we here for?
Indeed. Well said, Jay.
So at the end of it, so we all seen it. We took what we took out of it. We, learned a little, laughed a little, judged a little, whatever we did. Seeing the end result with the way that Amanda is posting on social media about Shannon, has that changed anything for you guys? Is that lessened the interview? Has it dirtied it up? Has it changed your opinion on Shannon? Has it changed your opinion on Amanda? Has it changed your opinion on what the interview did in total? Like, what's your thoughts now?
Social media always mess up something. And like I said, and I have
she's talking herself. That ain't social media, that's her.
But she's responding to comments. Like if you see if you left it how the conversation ended with her and Shannon hugging and saying, "Hey, come on my podcast," all that stuff, I leave it dead. Like I'm leaving it in a positive light.
But she didn't leave it dead.
Yeah, but I feel
no response, no accountability for her.
I feel like that's her being pissed off at what people saying and how people perceiving her.
So no accountability.
Huh?
No accountability for her. She just mad because of
what you mean no
fans on the internet. Okay, cool.
Look, how you respond to something is how you respond to it. I'm telling you what I'm choosing to take out of it. Like, look, how you respond is how you respond. Like,
I'm asking you about her response.
I disagree with her response. I felt like she attempted to belittle him in a way because of his educational background and where he comes from. I felt like she tried to articulate or educate herself into belittling him to build herself up in certain ways. Or that's how it most likely, that's how the comments came off. Sometimes, unfortunately, when you're super smart, and like I said, I have a very high performing, sister. And one thing I tell her all the time is like, sometimes you got to I simplify, like, fuck them. Like certain people, you gotta just say fuck them. They not on your level intellectually, educationally. You gotta just say fuck them. Like,
so did she lie, or was that just something that we shouldn't say because it's nice? It's not.
What you mean? Did she lie? No, I think it was her experience. Like she felt like he was belittling him. I think he was like, look, let me give you the opposite side of this. What if this person thought this way? She said, no, he's taking this person's side. I don't think he felt like he was taking that person's side. And to new defense, like, look, and I'll give a quick example. We from inner city DC. We had a teacher who had about 4 or 5 degrees, most intelligent teacher in the school by anybody metrics. Classroom was run horribly. Why? Because they couldn't simplify the work to the students to have them understand. If you care about people understanding, then you have an ability, like New said, to get them to understand it. If you don't give a fuck about them understanding it, then look, how I speak is how I speak. You got to be okay with it. But if I care about what other people think and how people receive it, then I have to care. So it's like you got to pick one. It can't be both. I don't think it can be. I don't think it works both ways.
I'm gonna end it with this, and then I think it's a good idea for us to move on. But do you think there comes a time of you doing your best to be understood and to simplify it, but after a certain point of people refusing to even try to understand you, you say, you know what, you're just hard set on not getting it. I'm not about to continue simplifying.
Yes,
that is possible, right?
I agree 100% because my whole thing with Amanda is like, I've gone through that. I've gone through the thing where I'm like, why are they not getting it? Oh, you don't want to get it. And then you have to make the real tough decision.
And some people,
because it's like, I have tried to say it this way, that way. I had somebody else explain it. I did this. And then you're like, because you're going to be labeled problematic. I've been labeled problematic because people couldn't understand what I was saying. And I'm like, you don't even want to. You don't even want to. But what I ultimately did, which is what I'm speaking to Amanda, so that's me 8 years ago, is I ultimately had to be like, I came up with my little cute saying, the burden of understanding is on the communicator. And I put it on me because I can never change anybody else. I can never go, oh, well, they just didn't want to get it. Like, I don't live in a world by myself. So I don't get that luxury. Especially as a heterosexual black man, I can't be like, fuck everybody that don't get it. It don't work that way. That's not the world. That's not the world that's created. I don't have that level of a cushion in the world I exist in. I can't say you don't understand it. Fuck y'all then. I tried. I don't get that that luxury.
But
I don't know
about
if,
those Biden non-compete laws.
huh?
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being problematic, man. Some of the most great people in this country were problematic. So, you know, it ain't no negative connotation with that either.
I don't mind being problematic. That's why I started this.
Nobody doubts that. Nobody doubts
that. We're going to keep talking about
Everybody
Amanda
knows
Seales because I started the podcast. So back to Amanda. I don't like the way she said, "No, I'm playing," but
the non-compete. Go ahead, Brittany. What you think about the non-compete? I really was
like it's all in our lane.
Yeah, exactly. Like the non-compete. I left a lot of money on the table back in the days when I left with certain carriers, you know what I'm saying, for bigger percentages. I left a lot of money and residuals on the table about 3-4 years ago because of those wild non-competes. And, you know, I know lawyers, so, you know what I'm saying, I had to call my sister to put this. So I was able to get out some when you try to go another route. But I think that's going to help a lot of small businesses just because it evens the playing field in a way that's necessary.
Some of my corporate buddies are very upset about this. They feel like if I bring you on as a fucking intern, I still don't want you to be able to walk away with my trade secrets because now you know how to sell against my product.
Exactly.
They are infuriated. And I tried to be like, well, think about it from the 9-to-5er's perspective. Like, I am not a 9-to-5er. You know what I'm saying? Like in my world, if I bring on an intern and I teach him my business and he doesn't have to sign a non-compete, he can go and tell my competitors directly how to sell against the weaknesses in my product. And I was like, well, how mighty white of you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, just ingest. But I'm like, there are two sides to it. Because if I'm being mistreated in my job and I decide to leave, now I have to do 24 months, 36 months of a side job before I can get back into my industry. And I'm the low man on the totem pole to begin with. So if I'm treated unfairly, disrespected, going through Amanda Seales type work environments, I can't even leave because I signed this NDA. You know, not an NDA, but because I have this non-compete. And that's like even with insurance, usually if you try to leave, once you put in your 2 weeks notice, that's your last day. Because they're afraid you're gonna start gathering leads and taking leads with you. So if I tell the employer, hey, you know, this is gonna be my last, since my 60-day notice, because I'm so considerate. I'm moving on, but I want to let you know that is at that point they walk you to your desk, they watch what you take from your desk, and they walk you out the building. There's no such thing as a 2-week.
That's when they don't trust you.
Right.
Hey man.
I worked my last 2 weeks.
Me. You had to take that side,
I work mine.
Me too, Randy.
I work mine.
But with the non-competes, it does depend on the industry and what the non-compete kind of entails. So, for instance, in finance, a non-compete doesn't necessarily mean that if I leave Northern Trust, I can't go work for a Truist. It means that if I decide that I want to now become an independent trustee or start my own firm, or leave anything, I cannot take those clients. I am not able to try to poke at those clients for a certain amount of time. And I feel like those types of levels are, you know, we can look at it one way and say, well, you know, if you guys were so great, then the current clients would not leave and vice versa. But I think that it's going to hurt a lot of these companies in different ways, like not just like with clients, but even you start working somewhere, the non-competes go away. Well, now you've got to worry about whether or not people are just coming on the job to learn your processes, your procedures, and essentially steal, you know, this information so they can go out and do it on their own. And I think that it's a dangerous game. I get what the purpose was, you know, it allows people more job security. It allows people to, you know, kind of do their thing. But there's also a complete other end, which is new, probably why your corporate buddies are so upset, because they probably are at a particular level where it's like, this could really hurt us. We've put in all of this work just for someone else to be able to come in for about a year, 2 years, learn what we do, and put like a little spin on it, right? Because regardless of non-compete or not, you can't take people's exact products. Make a minimal change, and now they're on their way. That would piss me off.
See, but I had the impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was under the impression that a good, like the NDA, certain clauses of that is still staying in place. The non-compete is strictly so you can go work at a different company. I thought those processes, the NDAs, certain things of those are still staying in place.
I think that depends on the type of non-compete.
I'll check it again, but that's what I was under the impression of. If I'm
not,
that's it, in my opinion,
that's what it sounds like on the surface, but I think it still needs to be regulated a little bit more. You know, because it could be a good thing, right? Yeah. But you know, but it could be a bad thing as well. You know, if trade secrets could be stolen, like Brittany said, if people can come in and like they will do that for that sole purpose. Like now they've got a window in if somebody want to do that, and you think you want to hope that people have professional courtesies, right? That they won't do that, especially in an industry where I think all of us, where we have clients that we serve. You know what I mean? You want to have a professional, and I tell you, and I've dealt with that too, because I just left a $2 million book. You know what I mean? To start from scratch a year ago, right? And like that hurt, right? That hurt. But you know, when my no compete is up and some of them are migrating over, right? And now even with my old company, it's a professional courtesy. I will never poach clients, right? Because I'm just not that guy. But if I'm with a company and I come to your company and 500 people come with me when I join your company, if I leave your company,
I'm taking,
you know what I mean? You should expect that those 500 people that came with me are going to roll out with me. And, you know, I've had to go in the court with a cease and desist. And it was like, look, I didn't solicit anybody, right? They was like, he's our guy. We going with him. Right. So I think in theory, like this can be a good thing, but I think it needs to be drilled down a little bit more because there's some people who don't have professional courtesy, you know what I mean, and will take full advantage of this to the detriment of companies who've built really great things.
Yeah, I didn't think, and I'll look at it a little bit more. I thought some of those protections were still in place for the businesses, where you can't take customers, trade secret. All of those things are still enforceable in the contract. It's just saying that you can go somewhere else. I know a couple people in radio who, you know, back in DC, you know, who was Easy Street, who was back real big in DC. Mm-hmm. He couldn't do when he left that place of business. He couldn't do DC. He couldn't do any radio within a certain mileage, like any radio. So you know what I'm saying. I think it's more on that range. But I agree with you. If you can take customers or you can take secrets and things of that nature, it's definitely something that needs to be put in place. And you know, that's what we got lawyers for.
Yeah, I think it depends on the industry of how the non-competes are affected, because I think there are going to be a lot of industries who will still have one in place.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, those things would happen. That's, to be clear, that's what I was saying. Okay. That I think it depends on the industry. I don't think they're dropping it for everybody.
Yeah, and I know at certain top levels, it's not the non-compete is still staying in place. So those top executives and those, you know, what I'm saying, when you make a certain amount, if they got key man insurance on you, I assure you, you're not.
You good?
Yours is still in place.
What do y'all think about this? The second thing they added in there was millions of co-workers who make less than $58,000. They're saying you have the right to certain overtime protections, but it's mixed in with this bill. Is that good? Basically saying if you work extra hours, you deserve extra pay, essentially. But that is being incorporated into this. Is that like some filibuster shit that they threw that in there to kind of like?
Yeah, they always do. I mean, you know how I go, man. You got to throw, you know, like, look, these people agree if you put this in. These people agree if you put this in. If you want the bill passed, you got to put all of it in. You know what I'm saying? You know how, you know, that's how we work. Unfortunately.
Are we happy with this, or are we upset with this whole
I think it's
non-compete? How do we?
incomplete. I would say
incomplete.
bill is in place. I think it's some positives, and it has the ability to kind of hurt some businesses. But I will probably give it an incomplete until it's all about the the implementation.
Right.
You got to think about it. When does anything actually benefit two parties? It's about how do we get it as far in the middle as possible. But there's no such thing when it comes to these, laws and bylaws. And I mean, even the, affordable health care, now called Obamacare. That wasn't his original plan.
It was Mitt Romney shit, right?
No, so
it was the infrastructure.
Right, exactly. He gave it, but there was a lot of back and forth, and there were a lot of things that had to be taken out and changed before it got approved. But people call it Obamacare, but that wasn't even the original plan that was originally submitted. So I say that to say, like, when we say, well, are we happy about it or not? I think it really depends on what seat you're sitting in. If you're just simply an employee, probably would be beneficial depending on your industry. But as someone who may be a little bit higher up, or who's running these companies, or who's building these companies, because you got to think about it, even with a small business, we think about these large corporations, you'll be fine. But what about an individual who has what's considered a small business, and I learned during COVID, like a cheesecake factory chain, is considered a small business. So you have like these small businesses, and they've built these infrastructures, and you've worked really, really hard. And now you have the ability. Now you're worried about, okay, well, what are my employees really in here to do at this point? So it kind of sort of, I think it really just depends on the seat that you're sitting in my opinion.
Okay.
Great.
I want to go somewhere a little bit different. I'm gonna skip around a little bit, because while we're in a serious mode, because we get into our fun and jokey shit, I kind of want to get y'all thoughts on this.
So dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
So the Tennessee legislature has just passed a bill that would allow teachers and school staffers to carry concealed handguns in schools. When I initially hear this, I think of school shootings. I think of mass shootings, all the lives lost during Columbine and in all of those instances. My secondary thought, my tertiary thought, that then becomes my paramount thought, is black schools. We don't have mass shootings in our community. But I think about teachers having handguns in our community schools and shooting Ray because he called her a long titty having bitch. I think about shit like that. And I'm just like, if you're going to do this in all the white schools where these white terrorists are, I kind of get it. If you're taking this shit to Northeast, the schools I went to, then I'm sitting here like, no, dog, we're not shooting up the schools, dog. Miss Chase don't need to have a 9mm because me and Randy got into an argument over Pop-Tarts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that kind of scares me a little bit, giving teachers you want everybody to be safe. I do. I'm a proponent of safety. I just put a condom on everybody and send them in the world. I want safety. But giving teachers handguns, and I'm sure there's some training that comes with that. I would hope so. That just seems like the wrong way to go, man. There are a lot of different things we could do, different gun legislation. We could have more police officers at the schools. We could have undercover cops or something. 21 Jump Street. We could do something other than giving teachers fucking guns. Brittany, am I crazy for thinking this? Like, what? Where?
I mean, when you go as extreme as saying that a teacher would, use a handgun towards a student for calling them a name, I'm not sure that would be the thing. I think that I think it's more so from the lens of, if the shooting is happening inside of the classroom, because that's usually, it happens inside of the school or inside of the classroom. A lot of times these security officers or police officers, depending on what area you're in, regardless of the color of the student, it depends on the area. a lot of times, like having police officers in schools is actually extremely expensive.
Very.
You know, they have to get paid. So I think that it is just adding a certain layer of protection, and hopefully with, you know, being able to have these handguns come some type of training, right? So if a student is, you know, has a gun or something like that, we're not going to shoot him to kill him. We're going to shoot him to hopefully disarm him in certain situations. Unless you have
Queen, Sister Queen.
I said what I said. And
Queen mother of the African people of the Igbo tribe, Sister Queen. The kind of training you would want these teachers to have, I would assume, would be maybe on par with like the police department or people would carry guns, right?
I mean, everybody has to have a
par of
certain
that,
level of
right?
training to carry a
Like
gun.
on that par, just somewhere near there. And we see everyday police officers shoot unarmed black men for no reason, for less reason than teasing them about how long their titties are.
But that's a completely different, that's a whole other lane.
Is it? We're talking about putting guns in white people's hands in front of black minorities.
It's
Sweetie,
in
let me
teachers'
tell you
hands.
something. It's a teacher's hand. That is an individual who.
So we got another level for the teachers?
Let me let you talk. You asked a question. I'm going to answer it. You were talking about an individual who gets paid nothing and is in these classrooms. Obviously, I'm sorry, but a lot of teachers who are choosing to be in these classrooms with these students, there is a certain level of care there because it's not the money. So that is completely different than talking about a police officer who, again,
enforce and protect.
I'm not going to say what I want to say on a public platform, but that is incomparable. That's all I'm going to say.
All I'm saying is if a police officer could be racist, a teacher could be racist. That's all I'm saying.
There is a certain...
Did you not hear Amanda Seale talking about how her teachers treated her? Don't invalidate her feelings.
I think that there are a lot of Black women and men who have had similar situations and experitions while being educated.
Yeah. And let's say if we gonna compare the two, then, and which we shouldn't, right? Because they are, I agree with Brittany, they're two different scenarios.
You always agree with Brittany.
I don't always agree with Brittany, but I agree with Brittany on this.
We're gonna pod today. We're gonna pod today.
Look, this what I'm saying is this is the fact that I don't think it's not even about gun training. I don't think the gun training, weapon training, I think they already have a problem. So if you're talking about bringing in another problem, guns is not the problem. It's sensitivity training and training with guns that are the problem.
And you think they're gonna give that to the teachers before they even give it to the police?
No, and I just got it. No, because they should have it because they are not the police. This is why they incomparable because it's two different missions. Police officers are to enforce and protect. So their whole frame of reference. Their whole serve and protect. Okay, serve and protect. But either way,
what in the teacher's description requires them to have a gun?
It's law enforcement is their position.
A teacher ain't law enforcement.
You want to compare law enforcement with educators.
You want to do it because you want to give a teacher a gun like a law enforcement. You confusing me. I'm not.
No, I don't. I'm not with it.
Law enforcement job is to enforce law. You want to give the teacher the gun.
No, I don't. I don't agree with it at all. Because I think anytime you put more guns in more environments without training, you're asking for more problems. And I don't think teachers should have to carry a gun. Right?
But
I think a teacher should be able to should only have to focus on the kids and controlling that environment. The fact that we're talking about them having to carry guns, it's a system problem. It's not a problem that we don't need to arm our teachers. We need to fix the system that our teachers don't need to be armed. That's the problem. We're trying to address the back end, the horse before the cart. Like that ain't the problem.
But what system? because a lot of these kids who are choosing to carry guns into these schools, there's nothing that this system can fix. It's a lot of times you talk to those parents. Well, I wrote my parents a note and they didn't want to listen. So let's not talk about system, because it's not always about the system. Because that system did not teach these kids that it is okay to bring a gun into school and unload it on innocent people just because they felt bullied or they are unhappy at home.
That's still the system problem. That's still the system problem.
What system? You mean at home? What system?
No. I mean, you fix the home problem is a home problem, but I mean the protection of our teachers and our students, that is a problem. That's a system problem. If the government says that it's their job that our teachers and our kids are protected on federal grounds, that federal taxpaying money is taken care of, then fix the system that a teacher does not need to be worried about being on. The culture's gonna always change. Kids gonna get crazy, and whatever. So what? If the system is designed to address whatever walk through them doors to be educated, then that's the problem. That's the system that I'm talking about that we need to address. I feel like our teachers should be the highest paid in the country. We paying it's because they're the ones that are shaping the minds of our future tomorrow. Nobody should make more than them. Most teachers spend more time with kids than own parents do, right? Like they spending 40 hours with your kids. Most people ain't spending 40 hours with their kids, right? So like protect these people so they can go in and do their job well, and don't worry about some crazy kid because we can't control how bad parents are. You know what I mean? And whether they teaching their kids the right things or not to bring a gun or not. But we can create systems and processes that we can protect our citizens and our future tomorrow, because by God, we paying taxes for something. And if you telling me that's what I'm paying it for and it's coming out of mine, FICA's still coming out my check. Fix this system. That's what I'm saying. And for you, and no, I didn't agree with Brittany on that one. Right.
Well, I'm gonna say this: if I had a child or a student and they're not allowed to carry a gun, I darn sure would appreciate an adult in that classroom having one to protect my child. So we can say, let's put metal detectors. You know, you guys are saying, well, we should have police officers. If you're in a classroom or right outside of a classroom and there is an entire school, you know, because they do have security guards and they will have one or two police officers, they do not get there quick enough. So I get what y'all are saying, but people have already went around what has been established.
Let me jump in here, Brett, because I think I can speak from a perspective that you might not be readily available to you. I went to Calvin Coolidge Senior High School in Washington, D.C. My first 6 months there, we had, open lunch. We can go to different McDonald's for lunch. We could do all this stuff. We had a shooting in the school, 2 neighborhoods. I won't name them. Shout out to the 100. We were having a shootout in the hallway, and you can't really have a shootout in a hallway of a high school. So they changed the rules. We had metal detectors. We had police officers. We had security guards. Everybody damn near missed first period because the line to get into the school to have your books and backpack checked was so long that you typically missed first period. Because it was first period, then homeroom. I don't know why they did that. That was weird. But you would miss first period and then you wind up getting there by homeroom. And we didn't have any more shootings after that. What I'm speaking to is these white teenage terrorists who are going into high school, shooting up the whole school. I'm not speaking about Willie and John who got a beef, because Willie and John can't get their guns in school. So Miss Brittany and Mr. Randy and Mr. J. Lou don't have to worry about the kids shooting in school because the black kids can't get the guns in the school to fucking begin with. But the white kids can. And I think that's what we're talking about is this legislation in earnest being to protect the white mass shooting teenage terrorists, to protect people against them. My fear is that they're going to do that shit at Coolidge. Now, you can't get guns in Coolidge because the metal detector line is so long, you can barely even go to class. So why the teachers in Coolidge got guns? That was my concern. And J. Lou, I'm gonna throw it to you and let you hear the last word unless anybody wants to come back. But that was my concern, is they're gonna find a way, and this is maybe my paranoia, they're gonna find a way to turn this on the black high school, the black schools. They're not gonna do it for Columbine where it's probably needed. This shit gonna be at Riverdale High School here in Atlanta. This gonna be at Shorty Low Invitational Junior High School. That's where they're gonna do this shit at. They ain't gonna do it at the Kerry Washington School. It's gonna be at the Outcast School for Artists. That's my issue, is that this shit is not gonna be contained to where the white teenage terrorists operate. It's gonna wind up affecting us, because whenever they do shit like this, unless I'm just being Amanda Seales, it affects us. It always comes back to us.
I think state is a reason why we should vote in the United States. State laws matter more probably than the federal law. I think we all can agree with that. This is something that's going to be more on the Tennessee side. I think the legislation is a choice. It's not a force. I don't, you probably had 2-3 teachers that feel comfortable with doing that. Most of them care about being there and being teachers. You're going to have a couple that feel comfortable doing it. And beyond, we in the insurance space, the liability for them to do that, they're going to have so many rules that they're going to have to do this. They're going to have to lock this up. They're going to have this key. I think it's something that Tennessee, unfortunately, the people in Tennessee want to seem tough on something. I don't think the application is going to be half as what we feel like it's going to be. And to your, in your defense from, Coolidge and all that stuff, our state legislature is not going to allow that without a certain number of rules. I think it's state specific. Is more so we can say we got it passed. You probably have 3 or 4 teachers that's going to do it, and they're going to have to. And for them to get insured that way,
they're going to have to
go through like 1,000 hours. They're going to have to go through like 1,000 hours of you know what I'm saying, going to the range and knowing this, knowing how to put your gun away, you got to take your clip out, make sure it's not a one in the chain. Have to lock it up in this spot. You're gonna have to make sure everybody out of the room before you pull it out, and all. Like, it's gonna be a crazy.
Are y'all all nodding y'all head to this? Like police officers don't go through the same training and they still be killing niggas every day?
You're
y'all fucking kidding me?
That you have different lenses, though, New. I'm sorry, but you are.
I don't trust that, Britt. I hear you.
Tariq Dumont is always gonna say it's gonna come back to the black.
All right, you know what assault and battery insurance policy look like, especially for a place with kids in it. You know what the price tag of that is? With anything
shooting them, killing them babies.
Back to what I said, there is going to be a certain level of training involved. And if you're not going to pay the money to put, it goes right back to what I said. If these schools are not willing to put the money into more protective measures with law enforcement, again, to Randy's, if y'all aren't going to fix the system, I'm okay with that, because I know that there's going to be a certain level of training that the teachers who are carrying are going to have. But these kids have to be protected. There has to be more protection for these kids in some capacity, however you choose to do it.
They not going.
Okay, Britt, I agree with what you said.
We can all agree that.
But I disagree with the way they're going about it, because all I see is more dead black babies. And you can, I don't know what you would call me. You call it not a conspiracy theorist, because I don't even like conspiracies. I shoot down all every time Jackie said a conspiracy, I'm like, Jackie, that's bullshit. They lying. It's a psychic. And so I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Shout out to Jack. But I just believe that
I'm trying to figure, you know what? We'll talk more about this offline, because
they don't love us.
I'm really trying to understand what your perspective is. If you're saying that in most cases, it is Caucasian students in schools who have these types of occurrences, how will our black babies be more affected?
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because in my mind, I explained that a couple minutes ago. But now I'm having my Amanda Seales moment. I explained it, but you didn't. But it didn't correlate. So now it's up to me. The burden of understanding is on the communicator, not on the communicated too. So what I said was, I understand what this legislation is and what it's set up to protect. Whenever they do these things, it typically adversely affects us. And my fear is they're going to take it to, and I mentioned my high school, Coolidge. I talked about a shootout in my high school. My fear is they're going to take that legislation and run it across the board. And then it'll show up in my high school.
So
with black kids,
so
where we have metal detectors, where none of the kids have guns because we can't, because the line is so long with the metal detector, we won't have guns, but the teachers will.
Okay, but what is wrong with the teacher? So you're basically saying that you are afraid that a teacher is going to shoot a student for no reason other than they got called a name. A teacher.
Yes, I've seen police officers shoot people for less.
I would say this.
I've seen community service people, community watch motherfucker kill Trayvon Martin. I have seen it, Brittany. I am not speaking in hyperbole. I am not talking about irrational things that don't exist. I have seen it. I've seen it on the news.
Do you think that a Caucasian individual who is racist would choose to go into an all-black school and teach?
Yes. Yeah. I fucking do. I've seen it. You don't choose where you teach. You get your degree, you apply for work, and you get hired somewhere, Brittany. What the fuck are you talking about? You don't choose what school you go to. You apply for a job and you get hired. And then you tell your friends, I'm in the fucking nigger school. Can you believe this shit?
Go there with that. But
I'm just telling you, like, they don't choose their jobs. They get hired, they go work somewhere, and then they're unhappy. Like the police officer got to police the ghetto. They didn't go, I get to go to, I'm a racist cop, but I'm only going to police privileged white people. They get sent to the ghetto, they pissed off about it, and they driving down the street and hate the smell of fucking fried chicken and cologne.
Is that how it works? You just go to
all my son's schools, all my son teachers like love their jobs, and I think and
oh
in
my
fact,
God,
one of them just got hired.
You're gonna see it now. Y'all invalidated my experience. I'm on my man of skill shit. I'm not asking you what you do. Why are you defending the teachers at your school? I'm talking about the teachers at my school. Why are you defending the teachers at your school? You are triggering me, Shannon, Randy, stop. You're triggering me because we're not talking about those teachers. We're talking about my experience. So why would you bring up something else when I'm telling you my
you've been out of school 20 years, man. You don't even remember none of your teachers' names. Talking about your teachers.
What? I'm kind of lost.
See, hold on. When I'm making a joke, I need Brittany to get my fucking Brittany.
Anywhere.
You need to get my jokes. I'm about tired of this. This is my second joke you ain't get.
Something to joke about where you talking about a teacher just gets placed and they have no control over.
No, they don't. I can. Put my phone.
This is not lean on me.
My ex is a teacher. She's actually not a teacher. She's a what do you call the person that? She's not the principal, but she organizes the teachers and the conferences. You don't get to choose where you go.
No, you don't.
That's a misconception on your part. And I call the right fucking name. Hold up.
No. Is that no matter what state you're in? Is that doesn't matter where you are? Because no matter teaching at the school,
no matter what industry you're in, Brittany, you don't get to apply for a job and choose where you go.
Like a lot of times they'll do it on.
What are you talking about?
You get to apply for a job and choose where you go. Fresh out of college.
Sometimes they'll do it on a lottery basis. Well, because you guys said most people want to go to the best schools ever. So a lot of times they'll do it on a lottery basis, and they'll assign teachers who come into the workforce to go to certain schools because they don't want all the best teachers to say, "Okay, I just want to go to this school that's in a very affluent neighborhood." Who's a lot easier parents, things that nature. So they do in certain instances where they'll say, okay, at a amount of years.
Hey, don't say nothing crazy. You live on the podcast. I just have a question for you about teachers coming out of college and choosing jobs. Okay.
But you guys are talking about. No, we're gonna be.
I'm in the middle of an interview.
I was talking about teachers in general. I was not talking about a teacher who is coming straight out of college that gets assigned somewhere. Okay.
I thought that's what we were talking about.
We're talking about just teachers in general.
Okay, so teachers, let's do a two-part. Miss Anonymous. Teachers, let's do both parts. We'll start with in general. How often, what we're discussing is teachers in Tennessee being given the right to carry a firearm because of the mass shootings. And we know the mass shootings are usually the white kids going into the white schools. My fear is that because of that legislation, it'll give teachers in the inner city the same ability to carry guns. When in my high school, we had metal detectors. So no students had guns. But I think it would empower a teacher to have a gun. And I fear that like a white teacher might be there and might get trigger happy. Like the police get trigger happy. And so my argument is I'm against this because of the fact that I think it's going to negatively impact us. And then the discussion became about teachers going where they wanted to go. And I'm like, racist cops don't want to always work a black beat. They want to be in a white neighborhood. And it could be racist teachers that are in a black school. And then it became the teachers can either choose where they go or they can't. So how much power do teachers have in choosing where they go, either fresh out of college or even being semi-tenured?
Tenured.
Like, is it a difference? If you're tenured, you can choose. If you're fresh out of college, you can't. Or is it more nuanced?
More of a lottery.
You have the choice whether you're a novice or an expert teacher. They do give you more money for going into those lower performing schools and communities, but you have an option. Where you interview is where you interview.
So you have an option. So you can be a racist teacher. So you can be a racist teacher and go to an inner city black school and then get this new gun legislation and kill innocent black kids because you chose to go there. If you wanted to. Hold on, if you wanted to. Brittany, don't make me mute you. If you wanted to, you could do that.
You have the choice of going.
So you can go kill innocent black people. That's all I need to know.
You really think that a Caucasian teacher would purposely go teach? Like, let's be real for a second.
Do you really think that white people would go to a whole continent of Africa, enslave people, take their religion, name, race, culture, value, God, put them on a boat, drive them 3,000 miles away from that continent and have them build their society and then make them permanent second-class citizens? Do you think they would do that?
You know, I've been going to therapy now.
Don't go into the light, Brittany. Don't go into the light, Brittany.
In place, right? I think we're far from being able to carry guns and other things.
No, they just announced it in Louisiana.
Yes.
Or Tennessee.
It's not here where I am. It's not where you are. There's other things in place. I think that's going to take a while to get across the country.
You don't think it's a slippery slope?
In my opinion, I would carry one.
Right, but you love black students. Now, what about the white teacher the one that wore the fake Kwanzaa shit, the fake Black Panther shit to school that day? What about her? What about them? What about them?
We talked about that. You said her
intentions are
in the right place. My hope is that their intentions are in the right place and that
they trying to mute me again. I'm leaving the chat. How about that?
All right. Well, thank you, anonymous teacher from anonymous cities in the country, for your input.
Thank you.
And thank you for all that you do for the kids.
Yes, absolutely.
So now we all agree with me, right?
I think we should go on to the next topic.
All right, next topic. All right. You know what? When one of our people get killed by them teachers, don't come back to me saying, "Damn, no, that's fucked up." I'm like, no, it ain't fucked up. I feel like really like Amanda Seales, but whatever. I'm gonna give us a little break as we go into this next topic because y'all have really shattered my reality.
It's the mayor.
So Randy's
tech company. Do you think that putting your glasses on makes you more believable or something? Like, is that why?
Sometimes I have to take my glasses off so I can see what you're saying. Sometimes I gotta put them on so I can see what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Don't
you need a little extra to see what you're saying. I get it. Don't need much to catch what I'm dropping, but
we fighting anyway. I'm gonna see you in the streets. It's all good. Your birthday coming up. You got 30-something licks coming. Don't even worry about it. 37. 30-something. 34. 34.
Brizzy always.
Yeah, that's like get it right. Like who you calling?
I was okay. I was okay with that, Amanda Seale. God damn it, you ain't messing this up.
My age up.
You done went too damn far.
Right. You're like 30 what? 30 who?
Are you the 5th? You the 3rd? The 5th? What day is your birthday? You're not the 5th because that would make it. You're the 4th. The 12th?
Yes, the event is on the 4th. My birthday is on Mother's Day, which is why I have the event a week before, because I'm not trying to compete with anybody's mama.
That's good.
Because nobody can compete with my mama.
Jeff. I hear that. Now, this is going to compete with everything. This is some shit. So Brittany called me 5 times this week to talk about this particular topic. Said we must talk about this. This is so important for the culture and the people and for the survival of our species. And I said, Brittany, okay, fine. We will talk about it. So she wanted to talk about the sex plane. On this sex plane, you catch it in Vegas. This is your invitation to the Mile High Club. They have different packages starting from $9.95, which gives you 30 minutes, to $18.95 that would give you 90 minutes. And it's a luxurious aircraft. You can they have Bluetooth speaker for if you want to put on my Choke and Stroke playlist. Well, if you're interested in that, I'll put it in the description below for the Choke and Stroke playlist. It's fire. It's updated 2024 version. And you fly over, different areas in Nevada. I think I told you about when they didn't do this, but when my team took the helicopter into the Grand Canyon, from Nevada. So it's that kind of scenic route. And you can have sex on the plane without worrying about being arrested or Homeland Security, trying to do a threesome. And, it's a lot of stuff that goes through when you're on a regular plane. You wouldn't have this on this experience. It's more a private plane. There's a bed type setup. And normally this is like insignificant, like, okay, cool. But I just think it's cool. And I wanted to acknowledge it. I knew we had a lot of deep discussion. I knew Brittany was going to be trying to fight me over damn Amanda Seales, and she's going to try to fight about keeping the guns and teachers with guns. And I said, we need something lighthearted that we can all just and just express an opinion on.
And the fact that teachers can, in fact, choose where they teach.
and they can have sex on planes. Teachers, because I'm about to call her back. Me and her about to go on the plane. I'm gonna have sex with her on the plane.
Oh my God.
But anyway, forget that part. Scratch it from your memories. But who do y'all think is most likely to take advantage of this first out of us 4?
You.
I know who I think. Who?
You just said you were about to it's cold day.
Set it up now.
Right.
Who the first person that's gonna do it, Randy?
You just said you about to call Shorty back.
You got to call Teacher Bay, Administrative Bay.
You already answered the question.
You know what? J. Lou, you part of this foolishness, J. Lou.
Hey man, I concur.
Oh man, y'all are something else. Okay, let me ask you this then. $1,000, 30 minutes. Would you do it?
I'm gonna say this.
$2,000 for 90 minutes.
I feel like having, sex on a plane and an airport, like different places like that, the fun of it is because you have to sneak and do it. I don't think that it would be fun to be like, can you really say that you're a part of the Mile High Club if you are specifically going somewhere to do this? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It takes the fun out of it.
Somehow that is correct.
Somehow that is correct.
Yeah. I agree with Brendan. It'd have to be like if we in Vegas and it's just like spontaneous, and it'd be like, hey, they got them planes. You want to go jump on one? You know what I mean? Like that. But
had to get lit
yeah,
tonight.
but
Like, look, well, let's
like you know what I mean. We had Daya, and you know what I mean. We had Daya partying, and then you know it transitioned to that. Then you know, but nah, I'm like Brett, I ain't booking it. Be like, hey, yo, we going on the plane tomorrow.
That's spontaneous sex.
It's gonna be part of our club. Put it on the calendar.
It says up to 4 people, so you might meet another couple or lesbian couple, or it could happen. J. Lou, what you think?
I ain't about to say, hey, at 2:17 we gonna go do this. We just gonna do it. So we would have had
somehow that is correct.
Somehow that's correct too. All correct answers. But I feel y'all on that because I do think like what Britt said, the thrill is in the am I gonna get caught? Or what's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you come in, did this? He come in, be quiet, you 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 be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Hurry up, you hurry up, you hurry up, you hurry up, you hurry up. So I think that is like a lot of the fun of it. So I agree with y'all. But I would probably do it at some point just to come back with a story, but I don't think that story, the only way that story is better than on a regular plane is if you bragging about how much you spent. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, I dropped about 2-3 stacks. It was me, her, Diddy and Cassie. You know what? Well, bad example. Never mind. You know what? I'm moving on to the next. Just moving on.
Good job.
So, this I thought, I want to play a little bit of this for y'all because we get so serious sometimes, and I hate it. Well, not actually, I love it, but I wanted to play a little bit of this for y'all because I have experience. I talked to like some of my young sisters, my young homegirls, and they will always tell me this shit. And hearing it in this environment, I've had a lot of conversation this last week, and I think this is something that we should definitely talk about before we wrap up the show.
He's serious. You
have to be. Listen, men. I want to say this. I want to put this out there, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this way, and then we'll fix it up later. Mm-hmm. You have to fall back in love with pussy. Mm-hmm. You have to fall back in love with the idea. Now let's clean it up of making love to a woman.
Talk that talk. No, you're right. Talk that talk. I'm listening.
Right.
And doing it at a high level.
That's right.
You have You have to study a woman.
That's right.
You have to ask questions.
Right.
You have to learn her body in order to do this thing the right way.
That's right.
One key.
That's Tank on the Breakfast Club. And I have had conversations with different women, and I was like, so the men, they just be, they be jerking off inside of you, basically. They don't care about your pleasure. They don't care about what you get out of it. They are just chasing a nut inside of you. Your body is a hand to them. Like this is a very comfortable hand. Like they don't care. And I used to always make the joke, like, you gotta get your old head from DC. Because of the girls out, people I hung around, me being in Atlanta, being from DC and my crew in DC and all that shit. And that was the joke. But I've had very recent situations where homegirls, because I love women. I don't just love pussy. I love women. Like, if you catch me, I'm with 2-3 women. You catch me outside of the club, I'm usually not with the fellas. I'm with a bunch of girls. You catch me in the restaurant, it's me and a couple girls. I love my bros, but I love women. They're soft, they smell good, they're smarter than us. Put me around some bad women and keep me in line. Love that shit. But they be like, these dudes I just be like, this is mind-blowing that y'all are experiencing this. And I do think that what Tank said, it resonated with me because I'm like, damn, because it brought me back to my joke. So they just jerking off inside your pussy. And that's what they're doing. And I wonder if it's a young thing or if it's a certain caliber of man thing. And I'm just curious about that. And how do I do this? I thought Jackie would be here too. I don't want to put Brittany on the spot like there's a bunch of niggas in Brittany. But so I'm in my Amanda Seale vibe now. I want to try to answer this correctly. Brittany, when you hear women speaking, about relations with men in a certain age group or a certain demographic. Is what Tank said valid? Does that sound like, well, I've heard that a lot. My girlfriends have told me this, they've told me that, they've expressed this. It doesn't feel like men are really in love with the woman or the pussy or the orgasm or the pleasure. They're just kind of doing their own thing. Or do you think what Tank is saying is like, that may apply for some people, of course, but that's not the general consensus? Or do you think what he's saying is valid across different lines?
So I think it's a general consensus, and I think it does have a little bit to do with age, right? Because it's like older, the older generations grew up to like love making music, right? Nowadays it's kind of about like, I went to Pound Town. So it has a little bit to do with the times that we're in now, and the type of man and whether or not he cares enough. So not even just age, if he cares enough about you and your body and pleasing you. I thank God that I personally have not experienced displeasure much throughout my tenure of being an adult. But I do know. I mean, let's think about it. When a lot of women were coming out and saying, I rarely have an orgasm through sex because men just are not hitting the spot and they're not really caring about it. So that's definitely a thing.
Randy T, help these fellas man up. What we got to talk about?
Not help a man up.
He man up Monday. You know what I'm saying? Let's help a man up, Randy. Man up Monday.
That's hilarious.
I think Brittany hit it right on the point. It's the culture that we in today, right? And I think what Tank is talking about, you know what I mean? We talking different generations. I was listening to, I think it was Glow, last week, Glow interview, you know what I mean? And then with Megan, and you listen to these songs, and now like how I was just thinking, I was talking to somebody about this, how now that, these beautiful women refer to themselves as bees, and I'm that bad bee now. And I remember, culture changed when that was a taboo. Like you ain't use that in a black woman in the same sentence. Like them words didn't go. Like they ain't fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if
back to the 60s. They've been calling themselves bad bitches since the 80s. Remember the rap group Hoes with Attitude? Don't take us back to the 60s. They've been doing it for a minute.
How big did they go? I'm saying I'm talking about like Meg and Hot Girl shit. You know what I mean? Like we on some other stuff now with Lotto and all them. They on a whole nother level with it. So when you get there, and we already go back to the experience that most of us men, we think that intimacy is, we learn it from Pornhub. So that's because nobody teaching us the birds and the bees. So a lot of us got to grow up before we figure out that every woman don't want Pound Town, right? Because we think most youngins thinking that's what it is, right? And that's what you want. That's what we gonna get. We making songs about it. That's what you're gonna get. So I feel Tank. He like, let's take it back to, you know what I mean? We don't need to, like you with the choke and stroke playlist. Like, why I can't just have, what happened to the Quiet Storm playlist, right?
Whoa. There you're taking this too far, right? You're going too far. Now, I done took some 50-year-olds and some 30-year-olds. Let's not disrespect the choke and stroke. I didn't invent it, but I perfected it. Let's not disrespect it.
All right. The views,
but I do get your point. I do get your point. But ironically, like I do get your point, and I do know that different situations call for different actions, and different women. You need to listen to your woman. You need to watch her body. You need to listen to her words. You need to have a conversation. I have never had sex with a woman and choked her, and she didn't know it was coming. I've never had sex with a woman and choked her, and it was a surprise.
It's good to hear.
I want to tell a story. Man.
No assault charges out here waiting.
I don't have to tell you the name. I'm gonna tell you a story because I don't have to tell you the name. Boom. So I was an ex of mine that Randy, you know of. This is 12, 13, 14 years ago. She was talking to me about stroking and choking, and I hadn't choked a woman prior to that. And I didn't even know that was. I knew it was like a Wesley Snipes movie where they was choking. You choked the girl and she died. And it's asphyxiation, and they got this fetish. And I was, that's some white people shit. And I because nobody in my neighborhood was talking about that shit. And when the girl told me she liked it, I hit the group chat, fellas. Like, y'all be choking motherfuckers and shit. Like, am I late to the party? And they was all like, no, we don't be choking nobody. Don't you show nobody. We ain't bailing you out. And I did it. And of course, she liked it. She liked it before I did it. She liked it from previous. So when I did it, and she helped me do it, the way she liked it, and she loved it. I'm like, dog, abort and missing, choke them all, choke everybody. I love this shit. It make the nut more big. It intensifies the orgasm. Now listen to me. And I had a bro who was like, bet I'm gonna do that shit. But he ain't talked to her about it first. He just randomly in the middle of the conversation started choking. I'm like, you can't just start choking people, dog. That is not how you do that. Oh shit. Oh man. But
we falling in love with choking. What was the subject again? What we falling in love with?
What was the subject? Hold up. We was talking about
I wasn't falling in love with choking. Like how do we get here?
It was falling in love with the pussy. You wanted to play this. But my ultimate point was, it's like, moving on, it's just that consent. Get consent, find out what each other like, find out what each other's willing to try, and then try that shit. No surprises. That was my point. But I do think that and J. Lou, I'm gonna give you the final word on this.
If a certain type of man cares what you like, and they gonna ask and they're gonna have a conversation. That type of man is a certain type of man in any realm of his life. So, focus on that.
Yeah, and fellas, if you're not sure, communication is key. I have never had a conversation where I asked a woman if she liked something or didn't like something, and then that turned her off. Like, this motherfucker cares what I like. I'm out of here. It don't work that way, fellas. You can ask them, baby, was you mind? You want to know some sexy shit? Get consent every step of the way on your player shit. Can I kiss you? Can I touch you? Can I lick you? Can I touch you here? Can I touch you there? And get consent every single step of the way. It'll be a special night. I'm telling you, ain't nothing like a consent night.
But that has to go back to just not even being in love with the vagina, but with the individual as well. Yeah. There's a whole lot of casual sex going on nowadays. Like, people don't want commitments. People don't want to be in love. So in order to be in love with the pussy, there does have to be, oh my God, I can't believe I just said the P word. But there has to be a certain level of love and care for that individual. So I feel like we need to stop with all this casual sexing. And,
I agree.
That's the only way it's really going to get back to it, because you have to care.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this because it's true, but I agree with Brittany. I'm supporting Brittany's point 100%. I am not speaking away from it.
Don't say but.
However,
no, not however, and
God damn it. At times, like, I'm not fucking you if I ain't feeling you. I'm not fucking you if I don't like you. I'm not fucking you if I don't see something more. I don't want no casual pussy. If we fucking we're gonna be friends when this is over, or we're gonna be dating, or we're gonna be something. And I just have zero desire for just her ass fat. Let me go fuck her. But I've been that way for a good minute. Like my casual sex partner be like, they become best friends and shit. Like, they don't be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I fuck this bitch, never saw her again. I don't even look at women like that as disposable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're gonna be something. We got some value to each other. And I love that thing you do when you talk me. It's swivel around.
Okay.
Okay, well, so having I think the Tank is right. We should definitely get back into not only loving the pussy, but loving the woman. And loving the man.
Well said, Brett. Well said.
There you go.
What'd you say, Brett?
I said loving in general.
Loving.
And then Randy agreed with me again because he's on the side of right.
See, here we go, Randy agreeing with you again. All
Hey,
right,
you agreed with me a couple of times as well, but you never said anything to him.
We can get back into the love. Hey, Randy, I love you, dog.
I love you too, man.
Jamie, I love you, dog.
Love you,
Nah, nigga, tell me you love me too, nigga.
Love you, brother.
All right, Big Brad, love you, dog.
I was about to say, why wasn't I first? But I guess you saved the best for last.
The best for
Love you
last,
too,
dog.
New.
All right, goddamn it. We love each other. We get back into that. As we head up out of here, I really want to get one more question in. Y'all got 5 more minutes for me. I guess a good question. And it's right on the love and the sex. Megan Thee Stallion, photographer, suing her for having sex in the car with another woman and quote unquote making him watch. Now I want to tell you ladies something right now, goddamn it. If you having sex with a woman in the car and I'm in the car and you make me watch, I'm going to call my lawyer. I'm going to call my doctor. I'm going to call J. Lou and Randy. And I'm going to tell them not to wait up for me because I am with you and I am watching and I am hoping to participate. So don't fucking play with me, ladies. But no, seriously, like, I have 2 sides to this. I have the mature side, emotionally intelligent. And it's like, if I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to see that, and I'm in my world, like, don't make me be in your world. Don't throw me into your threesome. I'm minding my business. That is like 2% of how I feel. The other 98% of how I feel is like, I bought a camera. I am going to be I'm going to take a class starting Monday. There are white teachers there. I hope they don't have guns. I don't want to get shot, but there are white teachers, and I'm going to become a photographer because there's an obvious opening in Megan Thee Stallion's entourage for a photographer. And the podcast is no longer, this is the last episode of the podcast because I'm going to be a photographer for Megan Thee Stallion. And I'm going to be there to emotionally support her through her orgasms because I'm not going to abandon her like y'all abandoned Amanda Seales. I will be there for her. I will not Club Shay Shay Megan Thee Stallion. I will not do it. I will be there. Fingers on, hand on camera, hand on cock. I will be there. Next, Brittany. Good place for you to jump in.
I just feel
Look, well said.
No, that was not what you just said. Anyway, I really do feel like in all seriousness, again, we've got to determine the validity, right, of how this happened and whether or not it's true, whether or not it went down the way in which it went down. But I do feel like we have to respect, what people want, and consent is consent, whether it is a man or a woman. So I do feel like with those things, like, you do have to respect whether or not someone wants to do something. But I'm regardless of reading, it's just like, how do you force someone to watch something that they really don't want to watch?
All right. It's Meg Thee Stallion. Come on, bro.
Not even that, let's just be clear. Like, if you don't want to watch something, you're going to close your eyes.
Leave.
Even if your face is like, I'm curious to see how this unfolds.
Yeah,
with him never having another job and him working for TMZ for the rest of his life.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I hope
TMZ.
I hope it's
TMZ the rest of his life. And non-compete.
But
Jaylee, what you got?
Some people do use money for power too. So you know what I'm saying? It could be a way, if that's his truth, I respect, his truth. Some people do use money to hold over your head in certain instances, whether it's, where you go teach, where you work, you look at the Diddy Cassie situation, a type of abuse is using money and power over people as well. So, if that's his truth, hopefully, justice comes to light.
There it is. So as we
rolled out, he dropped the mic with it. He dropped the mic with it.
As we say goodbye, I just want you to say your name, your social media platform, and something about you. Just something real quick. It ain't gotta be elaborate. I'm a Virgo, whatever the fuck. Something you admire by yourself. But I want them to lead this episode going, who are you again? So, Brett, your name, your social media, and any fucking thing about you care to share.
So again, I'm Brittany Sade. You can find me on most social media platforms at Brittany Sade. That's BRITTANI, and Sade is spelled like the singer, SADE. And my birthday coming up.
Boom. Yeah. Tell them what day so you can get your gift.
It's May 12th.
Boom. Randy T.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate next weekend. I won't be down there for that, but we're gonna bring it in early. Hey, it's your man, the Randy T. Man Up Monday. You can find me on every social platform at man_up Monday. Look, I am a passionate advocate for helping men find and achieve true and authentic manhood and the families that are part of any man and communities. Like, I'm your guy. Get at me.
Boom. No Brace New on every platform. And I am really passionate about people being able to express themselves, no matter how it's perceived. Just say it. Get it off your chest. Don't die. Hold up, Brad. What you want to say? Have I ever stifled anybody from expressing themselves? Or have I always celebrated it?
However they wish to do so, right? But we want to hold Amanda accountable.
I'm on Amanda's side.
She
Then I saw me and her
in a way that's understandable.
I still want us to do it in the best way possible. I did it the way she did it for decades. I'm the only, you know how you see something wrong, something that you did and somebody else, and it make you cringe because you know you used to be that way? That's my only thing with Amanda. I see the younger version of me and her, and it makes me cringe because I was like that. I had no accountability. I couldn't find my accountability because everybody did me wrong. So I couldn't find it. Once I finally found it, I was free. You know what I'm saying? I just want that for sis. And I think she like women too. So maybe me, her, and my new joint, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want it for her, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna pay attention. I'm gonna love the pussy, like Tank say. I'm just trying to get her over to the dark side. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help her.
Please.
I want to help her woman up. I want Woman Up Wednesday. I'm trying to help her woman up on Wednesday.
J-Lou, take us home. How they can find you on social media and just anything that you would like the people to know about you.
Hey, man, it was good. It was good seeing y'all. I hope y'all have a great week, safe week. JWLagency.com for all your insurance needs. So I'm sure y'all enjoyed the show.
Man, as always, shout out to my motherfucking podcast Avengers. Shout out Jack, who couldn't be here tonight because she's out there whipping bodies into shape. But she definitely takes me throughout the episode, so she definitely got her ear to the street. And we are your podcast Avengers, motherfucker. It is a pod named Kickback. That's Brittany Sade. That's the Randy T. That's J. Lou. I'm No Breaks New. Jackie over there getting fat people skinny. And Uno. Oh, I can't say that. Wait, no, she is helping people reach their full potential through physical means.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's getting fat bitches skinny. I'm big.